All right, let's welcome in our guest this week, former Husker offensive lineman Jeremiah Sirles, joining us on Zoom. Jeremiah, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, boys. How about yourselves?
We're doing well. We want to start off with, as a guy who handles some contracts, your thoughts on rules extension, some of the details in there, the way they handle it, didn't necessarily increase the base, but added some bonuses. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was the exact right move. You know, you talk about how do you steady the ship and how do you make sure that you have long-term development over a program. Well, you don't change every single year. And it's the same thing in the NFL, and it's not a patient league anymore. It's not a patient college football. It's not patient in the NFL anymore. And so anytime that you can settle the ship and say, hey, recruits for 2026, recruits for 27, this is our guy. He's not going anywhere. We're going to keep him here. And if they save themselves, it's not like we made him 13-14 million dollar head coach. Like, we just move some stuff around, and I think Rule wants to stick around and say, hey, I built something here, I want to see it to fruition for the first time and not do the jump and rebuild thing. I felt like it was the right move by Nebraska. I also don't think there was another option besides extending him, as long as we wanted to quiet the rumors around.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point, Jeremiah. But let's jump into the offensive line right now, Sirles. And you're a guy who played tackle, played multiple positions in the NFL. Nebraska's had some guys who they had to swing. Guys playing guard, had to play tackle because of injuries. The difficulty doing this and just developing that and getting comfortable playing guard tackle, left tackle versus right tackle. We know that's vastly different for certain guys, but just you did it. Talk to the difficulties of young players developing and learning those multiple positions as they grow up.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. I mean, obviously you would love to just find someone, stick them in one position and say, grow, develop, learn the skill set here, learn how you can be the best left guard or the best left tackle or whatever it might be. But unfortunately, injuries are part of the game, and injuries are part of the game, and you have to move things around. I mean, we started the year with Turner Corcoran, and then when we had Gunnar Gatula, and then we had Teddy Prohaska, and now you're switching. And, you know, I find ourselves very lucky that our interior three have been able to stay so healthy all along, because if you look at where I got a chance to just watch your breakdown there, Jay, majority of our big runs don't come from the edges. They come from the A gap. Like, they come from A gap and B gap, and there's a meaningful reason for that. Those three guys in the middle are playing extremely well. We have the issues on the tackles with flipping guys on sides. It's very difficult, not just from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. If you're playing a bunch of left tackle and all camp, you're hearing the play call, and in your brain, you know, okay, hey, gun 16 power, and I'm the left tackle. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm a jab and pick. This is easy. And all of a sudden you're on right side, and you're like, wait, now I have a deuce or a tray. And so it's just the whole piece from the mentality of how do I be able to shift that from mental into physical, and also I have to play really fast, and oh, there's a really good defensive end standing across from me as well. So it just takes a lot to continue to practice with that. And as a young player, when things are happening quickly, I think that it can be kind of trial by fire, where it's great for development because you're getting those live reps, but you have to understand from a coach's perspective, from a fan's perspective, there's gonna be bumps along the way, because that's just how it goes with development. It's not linear, it's up and down.
Jeremiah, it seems like playing at all these different levels with you guys, I know you probably prefer to run block like most offensive linemen. Can you speak to maybe some comfort or ease? Run blocking out of the gun can be difficult versus when they're under the center from timing standpoint, but you now add a quarterback running dimension. Do you guys feel that when you have another option in the backfield when you're primarily run blocking from out of the shotgun formation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, and obviously DB, we always want to run block first. Those dudes are freak shows on the edge to try and stop. It's not super fun, not super fun to backpedal when someone runs 4.5 coming off the edge. But when you have that quarterback element there, it slows the linebackers down a lot. Right? And I love Dylan, and he's a great quarterback, but he doesn't have the wheels, right? His offensive line, his dad was built like me, right? It's not surprising. The gene pool doesn't run deep, right? And so when you look at what Latif can do, and when you look at, like, even on the runs with Emmett Johnson, when it's this zone read and it's this pistol formation, and you see Dylan turn and hand it off, those linebackers are triggering quickly. And the reason for that is they want to get off of the double teams of the D linemen. They want to make the offensive linemen have to climb on them fast and plug the holes quickly and not allow Emmett to get started. Well, now you add this element of, hey, if he can hand it and you want to fire quickly, hey, he can come out around the edge. And so now the defensive ends aren't crashing down as much. The linebackers might sit or bounce one more step, which allows you to displace those guys on the double team for one more yard. And so as an offensive lineman with the quarterback run, you can be more patient on those double teams. You don't have to feel this immediate need of, I got to bang and get off to this linebacker because he's going to be filling the gap. I can be more patient and block for the handoff first, but be able to read and react where I can watch that linebacker where if he comes over the top, I push my guard through and it's probably a handoff to Emmett. If I stay on that double team and I see that linebacker start to move back over the top, right, if they're doing a squeeze scrape and he's coming around, now as a tackle, I can U that guy out and now the quarterback can try and cut off underneath me. So it really is just more of a timing and a feel thing. That all being said, I'm not sure how quickly you can get that timing and that feel thing down in three days of practice during the week. I think it might be an in-game thing where you just have to get that feel with Latif and that piece there. But it does definitely slow those linebackers down as far as coming downhill and filling the gaps.
Jeremiah Searles joining us here on Big Red Wrap-Up. What about for drop back? Because a lot of times I know you have a guy like Latif leaves the pocket. As an offensive lineman, you're expecting him to be one place, he's leaving. You don't want to grab, you don't want to hold, right? So they've got to think a little bit more about that, about him escaping and not grabbing a guy they're in contact with.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse to have a mobile quarterback. It's fantastic because he can get you out of a lot of trouble, right? I can remember a few times where that long run with Taylor Martinez, Spencer Long slides the wrong way. It should have been a dead on arrival play in the Big Ten Championship, and it's one of the greatest highlights of the game, maybe the only highlight of the game, right? But when you look at it from, like with Dylan back there, you know where he's going to be, right? I played with Sam Bradford, very similar. You knew where he was going to be. He wasn't going to be off that spot, and the ball was going to be out. With a guy like Latif, as a young player, right, you're going to assume that it's going to be first read, second read, maybe, and then the dude's going to be gone. And so the internal clock that you have as an offensive lineman has to speed up and to where you have to be like, hey, I have to really make sure that I am staying clean and not getting quick beats so I can allow this guy to get to his first read. And then also understanding from the tackle position, if you can feel your guy starting to disengage, just let him go. Right, just let him go. And it's way easier said than done because all we've ever heard, and Jay will know this, I want to grab you and hold on to you and never let you leave, right? But you have to be able to feel as soon as that guy starts to disengage or you can read his eyes, you have to let him go. And that's a lot to ask of a young Tyler Kanak at the right tackle spot when you're going to be like, buddy, just hold on, right? To do whatever you got to do, but also don't hold the guy.
Jeremiah, walk us through one of Nebraska's pet plays, which is duo, right? When tackles, they're flipping sides, but we know Nebraska can use their tight ends, and you talk about the patience and how to read it. How can the QB run game help complement what Nebraska likes to do with what we call duo?
Yeah, so duo is a great play. It's my favorite play ever. It's double teams at the point of attack. Essentially think power without the puller, right? You have power without the puller. And so you can usually have two double teams on the front side, depending on the front that the defense likes to give you, right? So you'll usually have the tight end and the tackle a double team, and then the guard in the center or the guard and the tackle, vice versa. But the whole point of the play is to try and get double teams at the point of attack to be able to push that piece front side. And the only unblocked player on paper should be the corner. Right. And so you always used to joke with the running backs, like, if you bounce duo, you're on your own, man. And if you go out there and you get tackled by that corner, I'm going to fight you.
It's the quickest way to get benched in the league is to bounce duo. I made that mistake a few times.
Yeah, you bounce duo, and you're going to have 5 offensive linemen looking at you like, you want to die, right? So that play is fantastic if you can execute it. But what's really great is you can get that duo play, and the pop pass that comes off of it to a guy like Luke Lindenmeyer can be deadly, right? Deadly, because you're used to double team and double team and double team. And now that linebacker's going, I'm not letting this happen again. And you go double team, and then you just leak Luke out late up the seam, and there's going to be a play there because the safeties are going to be moved around, right? Or you can go do or play action and roll Latif out to the 2 receiver side and have a quick down the field like you did to Key, and then something coming across. And so the play actions off of duo are fantastic because it makes the linebackers have to feed up in there and then panic drop, and there's that nice cushion between where the linebackers panic drop and where the safeties are playing, where you can really try and take some advantage of stuff into the middle of the field.
Searles, let me keep it super nerdy and stay in with some more X and O's here. Nebraska at time has been picking up blitzes in pass pro, but the miscommunications with offensive tackles and running backs at times this year. But just talk about the intricacies of picking up those blitzes when you're kind of zoning one way, man the other, and you have either a back chipping outside or he's filling inside, and just the communication that has to happen, understanding the protections and where MDM, most dangerous man, all those guys are coming from, and how easy it is if you're just off a little bit that you have a guy running free to the backfield to the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's going to be big this week on the road, right? You know, you talk about a young quarterback and who's going to be pointing the protections. And I think Justin's done a really nice job of at least making sure we're all on the same page, because as an offensive line, you can be all 5 wrong and still be right. The problem becomes when you've got 4 guys doing one thing, 1 guy doing another thing, or 2 guys and 3 guys, or whatever it might be, and then you throw the back into that mix, and that's where you get the free runners, and that's where you get the guys coming free. And so it's really important that everyone be on the same page, even if it's not the right call. Right? Even if we come up there and we identify the wrong linebacker, but everyone understands that that's the identified linebacker. So these 3 guys are sliding to him. These 2 guys are man on this side, running back. Your scan starts weak to strong or strong to weak or whatever it might be. As long as everyone can be on the same page, we'll be okay. Right? What's been happening and what it looks like happens sometimes when we have those miscommunications is it looks like the offensive line is blocking empty protection when it's really a 6-man protection. And as a tackle, specifically a tackle away from the slide side, your job is to block inside out on empty protection, right? You got to protect that B gap imperatively so that your quarterback can then throw hot off the widest guy. And I think back to that Minnesota game where Gunnar Gatula sets direct vertical, he slams the door on the inside guy because he thinks it's empty. The defensive end comes free when actually Emmett was standing there to take the inside guy, right? And so those type of miscommunications lead to catastrophes, because when you have free runners, right, that's sacks, that's sack fumbles, that's quarterback trying to force something. And so communication is the starting block point of all protections, and then from there comes the execution side of it, which when we get lined up right, then you have to worry about more of the X's and O's execution side and the physical side, but we don't have the option here to not be all communicating and be lined up and be all right.
Jeremiah, we appreciate it. Remember, get a nap on Saturday because it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, 1 to 3 a.m. with Coatney there for Big Red Reaction is going to be an interesting time. But yeah, I'll definitely try and get a little nap in before the game starts for that 8 p.m. Central. And then, yeah, have fun landing, DB. When you land, it's going to be 10 degrees outside. So make sure you bring a coat.
Yeah, he said 5 a.m. arrival. That's the first and foremost what I'm concerned about right there.
Jeremiah, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the game.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Go Big Red.